Hey folks, all doing? Hero None here with your Mundus Minute on September 25th, 2020. News, lecture merchant, and gold merchant stuff, all in a few minutes. And maybe a few plus minutes because there's a lot of news in this right now. So first up, big point of news. Bethesda Game Studios is now owned by Xbox. And this also means that ZeniMax Online Studios and ZeniMax in general is owned by Xbox. That includes ESO, Fallout 76, and all those other IPs under it. Changes that this means? Not a whole lot, at least immediately. Matt Fior did put out a Twitter message saying that this doesn't mean a whole lot. It's exciting for them, but they're going to still keep on growing ESO, and they don't have any plans to stop anytime soon. Bit of speculation on my part what this might mean for an immediate change. The loot box policy that Xbox is a bit more strict than Bethesda's. So we may see some changes in the future. 2 points that Xbox puts on all their loot boxes is anything in a loot box is earnable in game, and they have to put the percentage chances out of any loot box loot that you can get in it too. So maybe some changes coming up and some positive changes as well. But we'll have to wait and see what this really means for ESO in the future. Also on Twitter, Recursive Esports has an ESO division, and it's having signups for a inaugural tournament that's planning for October 11th. I'll put the link down below so everyone who wants to sign up can sign up. They have a Discord for this and a YouTube channel. Now, Greymore is currently on sale during the Lost Treasures Skyrim event. That's going to be on sale now until October 5th. During this time frame, you're going to be able to get Elder Scrolls Greymore up to 50% off and ESO base game for 60% off. I believe when I took a look in Green Man Gamies for about $20, and that's a real big deal, guys. That's going to include Greymore. That's going to include Skyrim, Somerset, Elsewhere, Morrowind. All the previous chapters are usually included when you buy the current chapter. So I do recommend folks go out, get it now, and enjoy Greymore. Why? Well, in addition to having the sale, there's also an event for in Greymore, and that event is the Lost Treasure of Skyrim. During this time, you're going to be able to get double drops out of most of your bosses. You're going to get coffers and other drops out of your daily events. You're also going to be able to get event tickets that you can buy Indrik mounts and various motifs that are going to be dropping during this event. And there is also a major reward coming out as part of this year. So every time that you do daily events, every time that you do antiquities during this time frame, you're going to be building up to get unlocks for a Horror of Markings tattoo set, a Orchard Vale Fawn Pet, and the 100% mark is an Antiquarian's Alpine Gallery home, along with an Antiquarian house guest. That's going to be available to anyone who owns Greymore as long as they meet the goal. And you're already at 25%, and you have until October 5th to get into it. So, yeah, it looks like it's along pretty well, and I do recommend folks, please contribute. Now, also on Monday, we had PTS Get Updated with the Markov Dlc Pack, and it is interesting. It's giving me a new look on what Reachmen are and what they are in ESO. During this chapter, you're going to get a look at West-South Skyrim, and you're going to get a new arena, several new sets, several new antiquities to dig up, new motifs, new adventures, and a kind of a wrap-up of the Skyrim Greymore chapter here. Now, there's also a lot of changes to the base game on this as well. For example, Frost Staves now are not going to be auto-taunting with your heavy attack. They're putting it over to Frost Clench. They've made it more support in a lot of the abilities. And just a whole lot of other things there. I can't really get into it just in a news segment. It requires its own video. I hope to get that out sometime, but I'm sure a lot of other folks have already gotten a lot of that stuff out there. I'll put links to that, all that, down below in the comments. So if you guys want to look it up yourself, you can. All right, let's take a look at the Luxury Merchant and the Golden Merchant for today. So first up on the Luxury Merchant. Blue Crystals, Blue Flames, a Geode, Khajiit Path Marker, and a Soul Gem Great. Which is interesting because you can't really get these anymore. Well, at least the great and the petty ones here. You can only get the grand ones in game now. Now, on the Golden Merchant this week, Defiler's Ring. Don't recommend it. You can get this out of Morrowind, and the proc on it is really not that great. If you want a better proc with poison, probably try Venomous Smite, which comes out of Greymoor. And if you don't have Greymoor, again, we can buy it, or you can probably buy it pretty easily on some vendors out there. Rigomoras, which I probably say is the worst set out there. Just skip this. Do not buy this for 150k. Don't even buy it for 100k, like 400 gold. Even 1 gold is a little bit too expensive unless you're breaking it down. The 5-piece on this is just kind of ridiculous. Just skip this one, please. I beg of you. For 250k, Widowmaker Ring. This used to be a little bit better when it first came out. This is part of Cradle of Shadows. I don't really recommend getting the 250k version of this. If you really want, I'd run the dungeon instead. Kind of a hidden here. When your chemical poisons fire, you drop poisonous spore in front of you that burst after 1 second, dealing 25k poison damage over 5 seconds to all enemies within 5 meters. It's a nice little proc set build, but you have a hidden cooldown with this that your chemical poisons can only fire every 10 seconds here. So you're going to get 5 seconds worth of damage and a 5-second cooldown on top of it. Really not worth it. Venomous Smite, which I mentioned before, same kind of effect, but it travels with the person that you hit who can't really block it. If you hit them with a poison, you hit them with a critical, they get poisoned, and they poison everyone around them. Just simply better in general. And then finally, Zen's Ring. Interesting set. I believe this comes out of Unhallowed Grave. Unhallowed Grave or Depths of Malatar. Cannot remember which. But I do recommend getting this if you run trials. At least one person running it can help a group. But I don't exactly know what the meta is right now with that. If it's still used a lot or not. But yeah, the 5-piece proc here basically makes it so everyone else does better damage with their damage overtime effects that you place on them. Might be used for DK. And then finally for 100k, Bogdan's Night Flame Paldrones and Golden Rolls Paldrones. I'd recommend skipping this. Instead, I would probably just go ahead and gamble the keys if you really want these sets. Out of these two, I'd probably say Bogdan's would be a little bit better for healers out there. Grundle Rolls, not really used a whole lot. All right. I'm Here of None. That's your Mundus Minute. See y'all in Tamriel.